The sun dipped low over Rivercrest Mall, casting long shadows across the parking lot. Evening shoppers and families hustled toward their cars, arms laden with bags. The sky blazed pink and orange, a final burst of color before night settled. Jason Statham stepped out of the mall exit, a quiet figure blending into the crowd, despite his familiar, chiseled face. He wasn't there for fanfare or paparazzi sightings. He just wanted to pick up a gift for a friend's birthday, then get on with his night. Yet an uneasy tension prickled at his senses as he made his way to the far corner of the lot. The families around him seemed oblivious, but Jason caught a glimpse of something by the loading docks. A slender teenage boy, maybe 15 or 16, pinned against a concrete wall, eyes wide with terror. And looming over him, a tall, muscular man wearing a black GI jacket, ominous patches indicating some martial arts rank. Even from a distance, Jason recognized the posture. Controlling grip, coiled aggression, a silent threat. Jason's chest tightened. A black belt harassing a kid? It wasn't a petty scuffle. There was genuine fear in the teen's face. More chillingly, the man's fist was curled in the teen's hoodie, the boy's cheeks shiny with tears. People bustled by, oblivious or too preoccupied to intervene. Jason changed course without hesitation, cutting across 2 rows of parked cars, a controlled urgency in his stride. Within earshot, he heard the man's angry snarl. "You think you can mouth off to me in class and get away with it? I saw you smirking at my stance. You're just a beginner, no belt, no skill. So what gives you the right to judge me?" The teen stammered something about it being a misunderstanding. The man's free hand clenched. "Don't lie, kid. I'll teach you respect right here if I have to." The man's voice was low but dripping with menace. Jason realized the teen must attend a local dojo or martial arts school with this man, who apparently outranked him. This is beyond discipline. This is brutality, Jason thought, adrenaline kicking in. He arrived within a few feet. "Let him go," he said softly, voice laced with calm authority. Both turned. The teen's eyes filled with desperate relief, as though help had finally arrived. The adult, tall with thick arms covered in tattoos, shot Jason a glare. "Mind your own business," he growled. "This is between me and my student." Jason took a measured breath. "From where I stand, it looks like you're assaulting him. That's not how martial arts works. Let the kid go." The man snorted, releasing the teen only to step forward and challenge. Freed from the man's grip, the teen edged away, breathing heavily. But the black belt's gaze locked on Jason, scanning his stance. A sneer curled his lip. "Oh, you think you're some tough guy? You want to lecture me about martial arts? I'm a 2nd-degree black belt. Pal. Been training for years. Who are you?" Jason set his jaw. He offered no name, no explanation. He rarely announced that he was an action star or a martial arts practitioner. Just someone who doesn't like seeing a kid roughed up. The black belt scoffed, flicking a dismissive glance at Jason's build. "You might be fit, but you're no match for real technique. I've spent years perfecting my kata, my sparring, and I don't take kindly to punks stepping in uninvited." Jason's tone remained even. "I'm not looking for a fight. Just let him be." The teen hovered behind Jason, trembling. "Thank you," he whispered, voice shaky. He was furious because I said something about his stance at the dojo. I didn't mean anything bad, but he took it personal. He told me after class he'd teach me a lesson." The boy's voice cracked, fear and relief mixing. The black belt gritted his teeth, jabbing a finger at the teen. "You publicly disrespected me, mocked my technique in front of the class." He turned his ire to Jason. "And you're interfering in matters that don't concern you. I can see you have no idea about the discipline required for a black belt. You want to test me? I'll break you." Jason's eyes hardened. He'd encountered big egos before. Typically, real masters in martial arts carried humility, but this man was all arrogance, using his rank as a license to bully. Jason refused to let it stand. "Discipline? You're beating up a kid over a minor slight. That's not discipline, that's insecurity." A hush fell in the immediate area. A few bystanders slowed, sensing tension. The teen looked at Jason, mouth parted, admiration shining. The black belt's face contorted with rage, taking a step closer, fists clenched. "You want to see real skill? All right, tough guy. Let's see if your mouth can back it up." Jason's posture shifted, knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed, ready. Yet he tried once more for a diplomatic approach. "Look, I'm not trying to fight you, but if you don't walk away, I'll defend myself and the boy." He jerked his head toward the teen. "Think about it carefully. Is humiliating him or me worth it?" Something in the man's eyes flickered, like a moment's hesitation. But pride reigned. "You'll regret this, pal." He flashed a quick stance, adopting some blend of karate and jujitsu posture. Then, with no further warning, he lunged at Jason, launching a side kick aimed at Jason's midsection. In a blink, Jason parried with a fluid motion, stepping aside so the kick brushed past, letting the black belt's momentum overshoot. The man stumbled forward a step, cursing. The teen gasped, backing away to avoid getting caught. Jason exhaled calmly. "Don't do this." The man snarled, doubling down, throwing a flurry of strikes, punches, elbows, each with practiced speed. Jason recognized the technique was decent, but the aggression was sloppy. He blocked, deflected, weaving minimal movements to avoid each blow. The black belt's frustration mounted. He roared, pivoting into a spinning back kick. Jason read the telegraph, stepping inside the arc, delivering a short, precise elbow to the attacker's chest. The blow landed, staggering the man. He coughed, eyes flaring in surprise. Bystanders gaped, some phones raised to record. The black belt, winded, glared at Jason with venom. You can't be that good. You're just some random guy. Jason said nothing. He advanced a half step, arms poised in a neutral guard. The black belt tried a takedown, dropping to grab Jason's legs. Jason responded by sprawling, shifting his hips back so the man's grip failed, then hooking an arm around the man's torso. A quick shift of leverage, and the black belt was toppled onto the pavement, pinned under Jason's weight. The man thrashed, stunned that he'd been outmaneuvered so effortlessly. "Stop," Jason said firmly, pressing an arm across the man's chest. "This is over." But the black belt spat. "No." He tried to buck free. In response, Jason tightened the hold, still controlled, not wanting to break anything, but unyielding enough to immobilize. The man flailed, all that supposed mastery overshadowed by raw anger. Finally, the fight left him as he gasped for air. Realizing he was pinned, he went limp, eyes wide with a mixture of humiliation and rage. The small crowd murmured. The teen approached, face full of relief. The black belt glared up at Jason, voice trembling. "Why, you're no regular guy. Who the hell are you?" Jason let out a breath, released the hold. "Jason Statham," he said simply, standing up. The black belt's eyes flickered with recognition. He'd obviously seen some of Jason's action flicks. Realizing he'd just been bested by the actor he'd taunted, the man's face contorted in fresh humiliation. He rose unsteadily, rubbing his ribs, as though uncertain if he should lash out again or cut his losses. The onlookers parted, silent. Jason stood calmly, no triumph in his expression, just a quiet disappointment. The black belt spat on the ground near Jason's feet in one final gesture of anger. Then he turned, stalking off, not daring to meet the teen's eyes, muttering curses under his breath. The tension deflated. The crowd exhaled. Some broke into applause or cheered softly. Jason glanced at the teen. "You okay?" he asked gently. The boy nodded, voice quavering. "Yes, sir. Thank you. You saved me." He blinked, tears threatening. "He's my instructor at the dojo. I told him I noticed a flaw in his stance, but I guess I said it in front of the class. He called me out as disrespectful. I never meant." Jason placed a reassuring hand on the kid's shoulder. "No need to explain. You didn't deserve that. You stand tall. It takes courage to speak up, and it takes humility to learn from others." He forgot that. The bystanders murmured in agreement. Someone called out, "That was unbelievable, man. Like a live-action scene." Another offered the teen a bottle of water. The sense of relief was palpable. Jason felt a small flush at the sudden attention, but more importantly, he was glad the teen was safe. He rubbed a faint ache in his own wrist, rolling it to ensure no damage. "You good to get home, kid?" The teen nodded, quickly gathering his dropped groceries. "Yes. My mom's waiting in the car. She'll be mad I took so long." He gave a shaky laugh, then swallowed. "But I can't thank you enough." Jason offered a small smile. "Take care. Keep training. Don't let one bully ruin your love for martial arts. The real spirit of it is honor, not intimidation." The teen's eyes lit with determination. "I won't." Soon, the crowd dispersed. People with phones lowered them, chattering excitedly. Jason, left to himself, exhaled. A swirl of adrenaline still buzzed. He turned back to the sidewalk, heading for his car. The night's air felt cooler, a gentle reminder that every day, you could stumble upon a moment requiring a stand for what's right. He'd done that. And if the black belt wanted a rematch fueled by bruised pride, so be it. But for now, the teen was safe, and that was enough. Thus ended the unexpected confrontation outside a convenience store, a demonstration of how genuine skill matched with moral conviction can overshadow 1,000 arrogant boasts. The black belt who mocked Jason Statham discovered that in real life, unlike choreographed sparring, an inflated ego means little when faced with unwavering confidence and trained reflexes. And the battered war veteran? Or in this case, battered teen? The story concluded with a simpler truth. Bullies rarely see reason until it knocks them off their feet. Yet unknown to them, a new tension simmered. The black belt, humiliated in front of spectators, would hardly let the matter rest. Word spread across dojos and city corners. An upstart kid, aided by Jason Statham, had toppled a master. The black belt's wounded pride smoldered, planning the next move. The real question was whether he'd realized that some lines, like attacking the young, should never be crossed. Or else he'd face a second lesson, harsher than the first. News of the altercation spread quickly through local martial arts circles. Tales grew exaggerated. Some said Jason Statham single-handedly tossed the black belt across the parking lot. Others claimed the black belt drew a weapon. The truth was simpler. A teacher forgot humility, a celebrity refused to let a teen be bullied, and skill triumphed over arrogance. But the black belt, named Marcus Howe, had no intention of letting the story end there. Marcus sulked in the small dojo he ran, a place once reputable but marred by his anger issues. Over the next few days, his scowl deepened every time a student whispered about the stunt Jason Statham pulled, or the teen he saved. Enraged, Marcus singled out students in class, drilling them mercilessly, lashing out at perceived disrespect. Some students quit, unnerved by his unpredictable temper. Others stayed, either out of misguided loyalty or fear of crossing him. In his mind, Marcus replayed the humiliating moment Jason Statham pinned him effortlessly. How dare that Hollywood actor humiliate a real black belt in public? In a twisted sense, Marcus blamed the teen. If the boy had just kept quiet and never challenged his stance, none of this would have happened. But now, the boy was a local hero of sorts, championed by the presence of a major star. Marcus brooded, scanning martial arts forums, reading the mocking comments. Some suggested his rank was worthless if a random encounter ended in defeat. Others joked about the transporter delivering a real fight. The more Marcus read, the more his fury built. He doesn't know real fighting. He's just a pampered actor, he told himself. I'll show him how a genuine black belt deals with enemies. He decided to go on the offensive. Digging around, he discovered Jason was temporarily in town for a charity gala, a fundraiser for kids' sports programs. The event would happen at a local community center that weekend. Perfect. Marcus planned to crash it, confront Jason, and redeem his shattered pride. If he challenged Jason to a public spar, maybe even a real fight, and won, the humiliation would flip. People would see the true martial artist triumph. Meanwhile, the teen, whose name was Adrian, found a wave of sympathy from peers. Some offered him new dojos to train at, encouraging him not to quit martial arts. When The Rock quietly heard about Adrian's uncertainty, he arranged for a short training session with him in a borrowed gym, teaching the basics of self-defense, giving the kid a confidence boost. Adrian beamed, grateful, but a shadow of fear lingered. What if Master Marcus tries to get revenge? Jason assured him not to worry. If he tries anything, we'll handle it the right way, he said. But remember, martial arts is about discipline. Don't let one man's toxicity ruin your passion. The day of the charity gala arrived. People in suits and dresses crowded the large auditorium, mingling among tables displaying raffle items and silent auction baskets. Kids wearing sports uniforms from local teams scurried around, excited by the event's star-studded presence. Jason, dressed in a sharp blazer, spent the evening greeting fans, taking photos, signing baseballs or soccer balls for the kids. The atmosphere was joyous, filled with laughter and hope for the youth programs the gala supported. Then the mood soured when Marcus Howe appeared at the entrance, wearing a black GI top and normal slacks, an odd combination that drew stares. He strode forward, face set like stone. Before security could intercept him, he locked eyes on Jason across the hall. A hush spread among those who recognized the tension. Jason, mid-conversation with a local councilman, noticed the sudden shift. He turned, saw Marcus, and exhaled quietly. So the man wants a second round, he surmised. Security staff approached, uncertain how to handle a random man in a half-GI outfit. Marcus brushed them off with a raised hand, stepping up to Jason. You. Marcus's voice carried across the space, causing heads to turn. I'm not done with you. Jason frowned but kept his composure. We settled this. Walk away. Marcus shook his head, a twisted grin forming. You think you humiliated me. Let me show everyone here the difference between an actor and a true black belt. Unless you're scared, you'll face me. Right now. A wave of murmurs rippled among the attendees. The Rock clenched his jaw, glancing around to see if any children were in immediate danger. The event staff froze, wide-eyed. Adrian, who had come with a local sports group, hovered at the edge of the crowd, face pale. Jason's mind raced. He couldn't let a violent confrontation ruin the charity event. Yet letting Marcus roam free to challenge him, harass him, might risk bigger disruptions. He stepped forward, voice calm. This is a children's benefit. I'm not fighting you here. Marcus barked a harsh laugh. What? You're afraid they'll see me wipe the floor with you? Or are you hiding behind these kids? Jason's eyes flashed. I'd never hide. But I'm not turning a charity event into a brawl. That's not what martial arts is about. If you want to prove your skill, do it in a proper setting. Not here, humiliating yourself. Marcus seemed stung. He spat on the floor. Proper setting? This is as good as any. Unless you're chicken. At that, the hush grew deeper. Some cameras whipped out, filming the confrontation. The event organizers looked mortified. The kids stared, transfixed. Even staffers from local gyms recognized Marcus as the unhinged teacher rumored to have an anger streak. Jason weighed his options. If he refused outright, Marcus would continue insulting him, possibly terrorize the kids. If he accepted, he risked overshadowing the fundraiser with violence. Suddenly, Adrian stepped forward, voice quivering. "Master Marcus, please, this isn't right. You're disgracing the art." Marcus glared at the teen, raising his voice. "Shut your mouth, boy. You have no say." That sealed it. The Rock exhaled, stepping between them. "All right," he said in a low tone. "We'll settle this. But not here in the main hall. We go outside, away from these kids and guests. Then you'll get your chance. But mark my words, if you harm anyone else in the process, it ends very badly for you." Marcus sniffed, as if unimpressed, yet relief flickered in his eyes. He'd wanted to force a confrontation, and now he had it. "Fine. Let's go." Security staff tried to intervene, but The Rock held up a hand. "I'll handle it. Just keep everyone inside, safe." This ends quickly. He led Marcus out a side door, down a corridor to a back courtyard used for loading deliveries. The place was deserted at this hour, a single street lamp illuminating the cracked concrete. A hush settled over the gathering of a few onlookers who dared follow. Adrian, a couple staff members, and a handful of wide-eyed kids who managed to slip out. The evening air hung cold and still, tension thick as the men squared off. Marcus shed his GI top, revealing a black undershirt and ropey muscles. He dropped into a stance, that trademark sneer creeping across his lips. Now, no crowd to cheer you on. No random bystanders to blame if you lose. Just us. Jason maintained a neutral stance, arms loose at his sides, reading the opponent. "That's fine. Let's keep it quick, for everyone's sake." Marcus lunged with a sudden flurry of punches, drawing on his black belt training in a mix of karate and boxing combos. His moves were sharper than before, less sloppy, more refined. The Rock recognized real skill behind the anger. He blocked, parried, each contact sending vibrations up his arms. This was more than a brawler. Marcus had technique. But technique untempered by humility was flawed. Jason found a rhythm, matching each flurry with minimal motion. He read the man's stance shifts, anticipating the next strike. Marcus feinted, then snapped a roundhouse kick aimed at The Rock's ribs. The Rock stepped in, letting the blow glance off his raised forearm, and hammered a short elbow into Marcus's thigh. Marcus winced, stumbling slightly. The Rock capitalized with a crisp jab, rattling the side of Marcus's head. Marcus stared, trembling with rage. Finally, unable to maintain any veneer of dignity, he turned and limped off into the darkness. The watchers parted, no one following him. A wave of relief swept through them, the tension dissolving into the cold night air. The Rock sighed, turning to Adrian and the small group. They looked at him with awe. Adrian's eyes shone with gratitude. "Thank you," the teen whispered. "He would never have stopped if you hadn't put him in his place." The Rock nodded, offering a gentle smile. "He's a lost cause for now. Maybe he'll find humility later. Meanwhile, you keep training with real teachers, okay? People who respect the art." Adrian's face brightened. "I will." They all re-entered the building, where the kids' sports event resumed. The tension left behind, overshadowed by the knowledge that arrogance had been bested by skill and moral conviction. Over the next days, word spread of the second confrontation, cementing The Rock's standing not just as a film icon, but as a real-life champion who refused to let bullies harm the vulnerable. In the end, Marcus vanished from the local martial arts scene, his reputation tarnished by repeated humiliations. The teen he'd tormented found a new dojo, one that valued honor over intimidation. And The Rock returned to his schedule, traveling on to the next city, next filming location, next adventure. But a quiet sense of satisfaction followed him. He'd stood up for someone who deserved protection, reminding the world that no belt color justifies cruelty, and that real strength is measured by one's willingness to defend those who cannot defend themselves.